Hey guys, welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast, your daily guide for inner child healing. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine, and it's divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading, the second is a discussion of that reading, followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you could join us here on this journey of self-expansion and growth. If this is your first time, welcome. Now, before we dive in, I'd like to again remind us of the congratulations of passing the 500 episode marker. And as a celebration of that, I've opened up the Patreon community for free membership so that people can join our Zoom calls for free. There are a lot of people struggling out there. There's a lot going on. So I thought this could be a way to provide some help and, to give some thanks for all the support that I've received so far. You can also choose if you'd like to be a paid Patreon member, and that will help me to subsidize some of the costs and expenses that I have for this project. I'm still running this out of my own pocket, so it's about $2,000 to $5,000 a year that it costs me to produce this actually. So I'm not really making money from this. It's something that I'm doing for myself and hopefully to be able to help others. And so I'm coming from a genuine place here. The second thing that I'd like to remind you is that you can also find the Reparenting Daily Journal. You can purchase that on Amazon. It's another way to support the podcast. It's under $20. And it basically allows you to follow along with all of the monthly and weekly themes. It gives you space to keep your notes. And yeah, if you join the team or the Zoom calls, it might be a great way for us to all stay aligned and be working together. The last thing I'd like to give you a head up on is the Fairy Tales for Reparenting Daily series. As I mentioned earlier, I've had some editing issues with that because in the springtime, the end of spring, I did some reworking to structure those into certain themes. So like the beginning, middle, and end of the hero's journey. And in the midst of reorganizing and restructuring the stories and also upgrading the artwork, some of the text is a bit mixed and jumbled all over the place. Sorry about that. When I was in the editing phase for the first time, they did not send the proofread copies to the Netherlands, and so I had to work, around and trying to find a way to get the copy to edit, and it's just been a mess. So basically, that's going to take a little bit longer. I'm going to aim to have that done by the end of the year, but I have burned my eyes, so I am very limited. Excuse me, with what I can do and time I spent on the computer. And so I would have had that done much earlier. I would have liked to have that already done, but here we are. And so in any case, once that's available, again, I'll give you a heads up, but please do hold off on purchasing the Fairy Tales for Reparenting Daily for now. Or Fairy Tales for Reparenting series, not the Fairy Tales for Reparenting Daily. That's it today. So without further ado, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is from The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Caban. Today we're going to be reading from chapter 5, which is Creating Charismatic Mental States. I'm going to be hopping around again, so again, this is an excellent book, and I chose this because last month was about emotional intelligence, social connection, was the last week, and now we're moving into the first week of October about understanding resilience. And so I want to kind of make a bridge between these two and help you understand how having charisma can help increase your resilience, and also being resilient can also increase your charisma. So there's like a two-way relationship here, and it's good to be mindful of that as you continue to progress in your reparenting journey, so you can be aware that when you're working on your resilience or your charisma, you're also strengthening the other side. That allows you to really see that you're making progress much more than if you were just focusing on, for example, your resilience alone. So that's the motivation why I chose this reading and why it might seem a little bit out of place, but they are really strongly related. Just as a reminder, we're in week 1, which is October 1st till 7th, and the theme for this week is understanding resilience. So the Charisma Myth, chapter 5, Creating Charismatic Mental States. As in the previous chapter, you learned how to skillfully handle the most common charisma inhibiting obstacles. You're now ready to create the right mental states that will, with help, reach your full potential and charisma. You'll learn how to increase confidence and how to emanate warmth and power, 2 of the 3 crucial components of charisma. You'll also discover ways to craft any mental states that you want, for example, from serenity also to triumph. The first, not a surprise, is visualization. golfer Jack Nicklaus said that he never hit a shot, even during practice, without visualizing it first. For decades, professional athletes have considered visualization an essential tool, often spending hours visualizing their victory, telling their minds just what they want their body to achieve. There is good evidence that imagining oneself performing an activity activates part of the brain that's used in actually performing that activity, as we just discussed in the reading from yesterday. Continuing, Professor Stephen Kosslyn, director of Stanford's Center for Advanced Study in the Behavioral Sciences, shared this with me. This is a reason why visualizations work so well. In fact, some athletes report feeling exhausted after intense visualization sessions. Visualization can even physically alter the brain structure. Repeated experiments have shown that simply imagining yourself playing the piano with sufficient repetition leads to detectable and measurable changes in the motor cortex of the brain. Now we're going to skip forward a bit because they go into more detail about how to begin using visualization, but we discussed that in some of the earlier readings. So here we have a visualization practice. The following visualization is a great tool to increase the amount of power you want to convey. You can try this exercise at home, on a couch at work, or sitting at your desk, or even in an elevator. When you have an opportunity, close your eyes for a moment. The first step is close your eyes and relax completely. Number 2, remember a past experience when you felt absolutely triumphant, for example, the day you won a contest or an award. Next, hear the sounds in the room, the murmurs of approval and the swell of applause. Next, see people smile and expressions of warmth and admiration. Next, place your feet on the ground and a congratulatory handshake. And next, above all, experience your feelings, the warm glow of confidence rising within you. Do you feel confident more than before? Some people experience very strong results from their first visualization and others less so. But as with any other skill, your ability to create realistic visualization will improve with practice. The next time you do this exercise, aim to create images that are even more detailed. Guided imagery must be precise, vivid, and detailed to be effective, says Harvard-trained visualization specialist Stephen Krause. When visualization is used with Olympic skiers, skiers visualize themselves careening through the entire course, feeling their muscles tensing, experiencing each bump and turn in their mind. Now we're going to fast forward a bit because they give some more examples of time when you can use this to feel more confident. For they say a time could be just before a presentation, another could be before important meetings, another time could be any time you're feeling anxious. The secret here is that oxytocin reverses the arousal of the flight response. The next suggestion is goodwill, gratitude, and compassion. Warmth is one of the key components of charismatic behavior. It can make people like you, trust you, and want to help you. Unfortunately, for many people, warmth isn't an obvious, easy feeling to access. It simply just doesn't come naturally. Many of my clients confide in their first session that they aren't quite sure what warmth should feel like. In fact, I often hear new clients worry, but what if deep down I'm actually heartless? What if I just can't access warmth? The good news is I can absolutely guarantee that you're not heartless. And I know for sure that anyone can learn to better express their warmth. Warmth is difficult for a lot of us. This could stem from any numerous of reasons, including upbringing, childhood, current environment, or simply just your personality. Warmth wasn't natural for me when I entered the field. To experience warmth, I had to use every tool in the book. Every single tool you're about to discover, you're going to get a 3-step, gradual transition into warmth, from the least personal to the most personal. Step 1 is gratitude and appreciation. What is the opposite of gratitude? Resentment, neediness, and desperation. none of which is very charismatic. We all know that few things will ruin someone's chances more than giving off an impression of desperation, whether they're on a job interview or a date. Gratitude is a great antidote to all these negative feelings because it comes from thinking that you have already done. From material items or experiences to cherished relationships. Gratitude can be a great charisma conduit, bringing you back to the present and giving you immediate access to feelings of both confidence and warmth. Again, we're going to skip forward. They have many examples for that. And the next one is goodwill and compassion. Here, have you ever been with someone who felt truly had your best interests at heart? How did you feel that? You likely experienced nice, warm feelings. Goodwill is a highly effective way, for both warmth. Goodwill is a highly effective way to project both warmth and to create feelings of warmth in others. When you truly focus on someone's well-being, you feel more connected to them. It shows across your face, and people perceive you as someone full of warmth. Your charisma quotient soars. Apologize for the mistakes lately, guys. Really doing in bad shape with my eyes. Still have not gotten better for a few months now, and also with the stomach and lung infections. I'm quite struggling over here. The last is self-compassion. Helen was very bright. She could make forceful, persuasive arguments, and she came across as organized, trustworthy, and a good listener, intensely focused on what people were saying. But she wasn't charismatic, and she realized it. I know I'm interesting, she told me. I'm a good listener, and I'm a good conversationalist, but I don't think I'm likable, and I'm definitely not charismatic. Helen had plenty of self-confidence, so what was she lacking? Warmth. People were impressed by how much she knew, but they didn't feel cared for. Helen couldn't emanate warmth because she had a hard time feeling it, whether for others or for herself. Instead, she usually felt a little alienated and disconnected. In our first meeting together, she very sincerely wondered aloud, why would people like me? Even I don't find myself likable. As you can imagine, this cold internal message resonated in her head and played across in her body language and diminished how much warmth she could emanate. Individuals who score high on self-compassion scales demonstrate greater emotional resilience to daily difficulties and fewer negative reactions to difficult situations, such as receiving unflattering feedback. Higher self-compassion predicts a greater sense of personal responsibility for the outcome of events. It helps predict levels of accountability. People who score high on self-compassion also have a lower tendency for denial. This makes personal sense as it would make this makes sense. Personal mistakes would generate less self-criticism, so people will be more willing to admit to them. Thank you, and that's the reading for today. Again, I skipped around this chapter, so there is so much here with so many more exercises, and if you haven't picked up this book, I definitely recommend you check it out. This chapter from the Charisma Myth explores how charisma isn't a mysterious gift. It's a mental state that can be intentionally crafted and regulated. True charisma arises from 3 internal elements: presence, power, and warmth. These are not personality traits, but states of mind and body that shape how others experience us. When you're grounded, attentive, and self-assured, your nervous system naturally signals safety and confidence, and others feel that resonance. For understanding resilience, the theme of the week, this connects deeply because you see resilience and charisma both begin in the nervous system, specifically with mastery over our nervous system. When stress hijacks our mental states, our presence and worth can often disappear. We either tense up, fight or flight, or withdraw, freeze or fawn. Building resilience, like building charisma, means learning to shift our internal chemistry intentionally, breathing slower, grounding into the body, and choosing thoughts that evoke calm rather than fear. The ability to self-regulate under pressure is the foundation of both inner peace and outer influence. That's why they always say don't allow others to trigger you, or don't be disturbed by the external triggers or events and actions by others, or even the thoughts and opinions of others. Continuing with the reading, in reparenting, learning to generate charismatic states is an act of self-leadership. You become the wise, calm parent within, the one who tells your body you're safe, your mind you're capable, and your heart that you matter. Instead of reacting from the wounded child who seeks approval and fears rejection, you learn to create emotional safety from within. Charisma, then, becomes not a performance but presence, the natural radiance of a regulated nervous system and a self-loving dialogue. As we go into the journal prompts today, number 1, practice presence. When I'm around others, what mental habits pull me out of the present moment? For example, overthinking or self-judgment. And how can I bring myself back into my body when this happens? Number 2, inner power anchor. What memory or phrases help me feel calm, grounded, and capable? How can I practice recalling this state before entering a stressful or social situation? And number 3, warmth as self-reparenting. How can I speak to myself with the warmth, the same tone I'd use to comfort a child, the next time I feel anxious or inadequate? That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself, and please do be well. Welcome back, welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please go ahead and find a space where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for this 10-minute silent meditation. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you comfortable today. Take a moment to simply be with yourself. Focus on your breath and gently connect with each part of your body. If thoughts arise, don't let them overwhelm you. Just observe them without attachment. Imagine them as leaves drifting down atop a river, passing by without needing your engagement. Stay present, grounded, and open to this moment, no matter what time you are listening and practicing this meditation. Namaste.